Hey guys, thank you so much for coming back to the Vitamin B Show. Your continued support, your ratings, reviews, and subscriptions mean the absolute world to me. And today we have a very special guest for you that is going to drop some bombs that are going to change your business if you are open and willing to listen. Jeet Banerjee is a 26-year-old entrepreneur, a digital marketing consultant, and TEDx speaker. He has launched over 15 plus businesses and sold two companies that have generated over 8 figures in online sales. You guys, that's 8 figures. And he is an absolute rock star, total genius. I don't even want to know how high your IQ is because you are just so intelligent and so wise. And I'm so honored for you to be with us today. So why don't you tell my audience a little bit more about who you are and what is going on in your world?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for the warm welcome and having me first and foremost. But yeah, so currently I'm 26 years old, as you mentioned. I really got into entrepreneurship 9 years ago when I was 17 years old. And the way I really stumbled upon entrepreneurship was I took a bunch of minimum wage jobs. So anything you can imagine a high school kid getting just to earn some pocket money. And in a span of 2 years, I ended up getting fired or quitting from 12 different jobs, which was, absolutely crazy. So quickly I figured out, okay, a job wasn't for me and I was getting ready to apply to college. And I kind of went into this panic mode where I thought I was, unemployable, as they say. So I went on Google, started doing some research, and I saw this video from Richard Branson where he was like, oh, if you keep getting fired, you hate working for someone else, yada, 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 that means you're an entrepreneur. And at 17, I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. First time hearing that word. So I went on Google and I said, what's an entrepreneur? And I figured out what it was, and I've always been super impatient. So I said, okay, I'm an entrepreneur now. I'm going to start my first business. So 2 weeks later, I did some research, did some digging, and I was like, man, I really love using social media and, surfing the internet. So I want to do something in that realm. So I created a digital media agency and I started making websites, managing companies' social medias before really evolving more into, digital marketing services and video production. Had that company for 2 years until I was 19. We grew that to over 20 employees. And
Wow.
eventually I realized I was very good at digital marketing. I was making my clients a ton of money, which is a good thing, but I also felt like I was underachieving and I could do a lot more if I was to, create my own products and brands. So I
Yeah.
ended up saying I wanted to move on to something bigger. And then I sold that company at 19. And from there, I transitioned into software. And so at 19, we created a software company that helped high school students get into college,
Cool.
really telling people what their chance of admission are, serving as a virtual counselor to help them get scholarships and basically be the best college applicant possible. And at this time, I had sold my first company, but I was also very, very
And you sold it for how much?
6 figures.
Wow, that's amazing. At how old?
19.
Wow, that is amazing. Good for you. Hard work pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can imagine, being a 19-year-old selling a company, I absolutely did all the wrong things with the money, as you can imagine. So really reinvesting into myself, bought sports cars, enjoyed fancy dinners, just, lived life, which was fun, but a good learning experience down the
Yeah.
road. So from there, I started my second company, but I was also really bootstrapping the second company because I was pretty much broke because I invested in a bunch of liabilities. And
Mm.
so I had to figure out, okay, how can we make this software blow up and get in front of all these high school kids without spending any money? So
Yep.
using a lot of, organic marketing methods, really grassroots guerrilla marketing methods to really get people to bringing one person onto the platform and having that one person share with their friends. And within 3 years, we were able to grow to 500,000 users on our platform
Wow.
without ever spending a single dollar on paid marketing. So that was a really cool
So you're
experience.
going to tell us how you did it?
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you guys now, or if you want me to, you want me to finish the
Yeah, no, finish. I'm excited to hear how you did it though.
awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely reveal everything behind the curtains for sure. So,
Cool.
so we grew it to about 500,000 users. And from there, we ended up getting, a very generous offer from a financial aid company to acquire us. And it was kind of a point in my life where I wanted to do something different also. So we ended up selling the company, my partner and I, back when I was 23, so 3 years ago now. And from there, I really transitioned into really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I think I've kind of one of those entrepreneurs with that ADD brain. So I started trying a bunch of different things. I was launching mobile app businesses, games, ebooks. I was, starting my own blog. I was doing a lot of speaking, one-on-one coaching, consulting. So I was really just trying everything the next 2 years to figure out what I wanted to do, including even Amazon FBA. And finally, after doing that for about 2 years, I quickly figured out that I wanted to do two things. One was I was really intrigued by the physical product market and e-commerce.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something I do now, where I build e-commerce brands while still utilizing drop shipping, but I kind of do it differently than most people do, where I'm not really just, selling someone else's brand or someone else's product, but we're kind of behind the innovation process, the design process, the packaging process, everything A to Z, while we still get somebody to fulfill and ship the items for us. And the second thing I do is I've built an online academy where I help others start their first online business and find some success online. And that's a little bit about me. And I've done a little bit of speaking and stuff as well. As you mentioned, did a TEDx talk when I was 21 on how to pursue your dreams. But other than that, that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. So what are the skills that you think that businesses need to create success?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it comes down to a couple different skills that it really takes. I think every business needs a visionary. I think someone that can not just look at the day-to-day, but look at the future. And I think that was one of the skills that I really brought to the table and I bring today is anytime I make a decision within my business, it's not about, is this going to benefit me tomorrow? It's, is this going to benefit me 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road? And when you start thinking about every decision you make in that manner, your decision-making process changes because a lot of things that you say no to become a yes and vice versa. Yeah. And I think every business needs someone that can be that long-term thinker to get everyone in the moment, to kind of also look broader onto the wider level. The second thing I think every business also needs is a seller or a marketer, because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, if you don't have someone that can bring home the bread, you're not going to be in business, you're not going to be in revenue. And then the third most important role, I think, is I kind of categorize it almost like a project manager, almost like a mom of a business, where it's someone that ties everything together. And I think that's actually the most important thing, because you've got so many people running on different parallels. And I'm super disorganized, so this is a role that I definitely do not fulfill at all. And I've brought in other people to do, but it's just someone that ties everything together and just keeps morale up and keeps everyone on the same page. I think those are three, must-haves for any business, regardless of industry.
I love that. That's awesome. And so I know you talk about some essential areas of the business, like a 3-step formula. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think to really have a successful business, the 3-step formula that I've always followed to build successful businesses is in step 1. I don't even look at what product I want to sell first. I look at who do I want to sell to first. And identify an audience and a demographic, right? And I go very in depth. It's not just like how old they are and where they live. It's way deeper than that. Like, for example, our college application software, I could tell you what our students would do or our users would do on a Friday night at 9 o'clock. That's how we really tell you. So the first step you got to figure out is who's my audience? What do they do? What do they like? What do they watch? What do they read? Everything about them, like an entire customer profile. That's the first step of identifying, like, who do I want to sell to, right? Because a lot of businesses go, oh, I want to sell XYZ product, but they don't really think about, okay, can this market afford to buy my products? Is this market even someone that cares about my products? Is this a market that I want to enter because there's a lot of loyalty in it? So I've always looked at it as like, okay, what are some brands that I want to, or what are some markets I want to sell to? And let me identify them first. So for example, one of the e-commerce brands I have now is like a men's watch and fashion accessory brand. And a lot of people ask me like, why did you want to go after that brand? And I was like, I always noticed that there was this, just even amongst my friends and other people I know, I always noticed that when it came to watches, men loved showing it off, talking about it. And on top of that, they were willing to spend any amount of money on it, whether they even liked the thing or not. And I was like, if I can create a brand in that market and I'm successful at it, I'm going to do way better than, let's say trying to create like the next 99-cent store, right? Like it's just, from a number standpoint, it just makes more sense. So first step is always really identifying and digging in deep to know who your audience and demographics is. And I highly recommend people to really pick who they work with. And I think the same even goes for coaches and consultants, because I've, kind of coached those types of individuals in the past. And I'll ask them, who's your ideal customer? And I tell them, if you want to work with, and they'll always tell me like, oh, someone that can afford my services or fees. And I always tell them, okay, say that you want to work with 6-figure business or 6-figure X or 6-figure Y. And now you've just weeded out anyone that doesn't fit your demographic. And it's like super simple. Like even for like our academy, what we do is we try to pitch people that are replacing 9-to-5 income, because someone that's got a 9-to-5 job, I know can afford my program. If I say, oh, let me just only sell to college students, they can't afford it. I know that. So understanding demographics and markets is huge. And that's like the first step of my formula. The second part of my formula is identifying the product, the service, the software, the app, whatever it is that fits seamlessly with what they need. So for example, it just really comes down to like everyone thinks like, oh, if I make this product, these people are going to buy it. But it's not necessarily just a product that sells an individual to buy something. It's the entire curated experience from top to bottom. And that's really successful with my brands in e-commerce is we control everything from the beginning to the end. It's not just the solution that we offer. It's the packaging, the design, what happens purchase, what happens before the purchase, like the entire experience. We've got like VIP clubs and they're part of a community. And these are things that are priceless, right? And these are things that nobody else is doing in the market. So we're able to really make a big impact. So part 2 of the formula is not just creating a product or a service or an app or something that you can just slosh together. It's really about, okay, what can I create that I know my customers really, really want, right? So if I'm selling to like, 30-year-old people that really care about, their image and their ego and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to create a club or a VIP membership or things like this. That's going to hit on them. But if I'm selling to, a 55-year-old plus woman with knee pain, she doesn't really care to be in a community to talk about her, like, to share that she bought a brace for knee pain. For her, she might want to be in a community discussion board where she can talk to other suffering, people in the world and figure out, hey, how are they solving their problems? And how can I solve my problems? So it's like different plugins that work based on your demographic. So figure out the demographic, then figure out the complete A to Z package of what you can offer them.
I love that you talked about creating a curated experience. So how exactly do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it is a lot of testing. Like the amount of things that we test on a day-to-day basis is absolutely ridiculous. Like just to give you some insight, just on one of our ad accounts, just like in terms of videos and photos that we've tested for our e-commerce brand, we've tested over 3,000 different videos and photos in like the last 6 months alone. So a lot of people out there, they test like maybe 2 or 3 videos and then they go, okay, I found a winner and that's it. But when you're really trying to create a full curated experience, you've got to test everything from A to Z. So we just test every possibility and we talk to our customers. That's the key. We literally, whether if we can jump on a phone call with them, we'll tell them like, hey, we'll give you, a $300 product. Doesn't matter. Let us pick your brain for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The power of picking your customers' brains is so invaluable because they went through the entire curated experience once and they decided to purchase with you. So if you talk to them and you ask them, what are things you liked, didn't like, and can improve, you can use all that feedback for further ways to test in the future. So it's really a revolving door for us. It's just talk to our customers, see what they say. Cool. Put it into consideration, take it with a grain of salt, test it, and see if we're onto something. If we're not, talk to the next customer and so forth.
I love that. You talked about the power of picking your customers' brains. And I love that because one of the things, I have my mastermind that helps people grow their business online. And so we have a bunch of members. And one of the things that we ask them 3 questions when they're involved with us. And we don't ask many questions. We're not calling them every day and asking them questions. It's, what can we do to better your experience? What did you like about this experience? And would you mind sharing a testimonial if you've had a positive experience? And the reason why that's so important is because how can you ever improve on anything? How can you ever improve on yourself or your business unless you're getting that critical feedback? And why not from people that have been through it? They're the only ones that are able to talk about their experience because they've been through it. But people don't do this. why don't you think people ask for customer feedback, and why is it so important? And the reason why I ask that is because I hope that this is a massive takeaway for the listeners, is after they get off this Zoom call to take action and imply and apply what they're learning, because you can collect all the knowledge in the world. You can be the smartest person in the world, but if you're not taking action, you'll never be successful in the area that you want to be successful. So yes, listen to my podcast, listen to what we have to say. Go and add Jeet on social media, which, by the way, go check him out. His Instagram is the TheJeetBanerjee. Follow myself as well at Brittany Michalchuk, which you all should be doing. BrittanyMichalchuk. And please take a screenshot of this episode. Tag us in it. I always repost everything. I've seen you've reposted some stuff as well. And he's nodding his head yes. So you got to repost on that. And maybe just share what you liked about the episode. But so why is it that people will learn information, but they're not applying? And why is it so important to actually get off this podcast and start calling people or messaging people and being like, hey, do you have feedback about my product or service?
Yeah, absolutely. So the one thing I've really realized over the years from just building businesses and interacting with other businesses is I always judge a business not based on what they do for me before they have my money, but what they do for me after they have my money. And I think that's very mission critical for people to understand, because consumers are very hesitant, businesses are very hesitant to pay someone because they know it's all, flowers and ponies before they take your money, but after you take your money is how you really judge how a business operates. And I think what it comes down to is laziness, right? Like people, as business owners, everyone is just craving that sale. They end up acquiring that sale, and then they kind of just get lazy and they're satisfied and they kind of just go into lull mode. And the biggest thing that I realized was what we try to emphasize to our customers, and it's kind of the simple process of over deliver and under promise, is customers the best possible experience, even better once they've paid us our money, because they've never seen that before. And when you do that to somebody, it throws them off and they develop this like love for your brand, whether it's your personal brand, your business, your coaching, whatever it is, because they're like, man, I've never met somebody that's done this before. Everyone always gets rainbows in the beginning, and then it's always a letdown. Like even the biggest companies in the world, like I see this with Amazon, I see this with everybody. And so the biggest thing that I got to tell people is that treat your customers even better once they're your customer, and you guys will see that like exponential gain that you get down the road. And why is it important to really just go out and talk to your customers? Because at the end of the day, your customers make and break your business. And the biggest thing to also understand is things change every day. So like a marketing campaign or an ad campaign I launched today may not work 2 months from now. And if I stay there and I'm just, sipping a pina colada, just, relaxing on the beach, not continuing to grow, I might not be making any more money 2 months from now because I didn't do the steps that, you're supposed to do while one campaign is working, which is, understanding your customers, understanding your audiences. Like business is very short term. If you want to survive long term, you've got to constantly adapt and innovate. So the way to adapt and innovate easily, where you have the competitive advantage, is you've got customers, you've got people that already love your brand. Just go talk to them, right? Versus someone that doesn't have customers, they are so far behind in the game that they don't have the customers to talk to. They have to figure out everything. So you've got a blessing if you've got customers. Take advantage of it, and I think you can do a lot with it.
I love that. The power of picking your customer's brain and how to adapt and innovate to create a competitive advantage. That is so powerful. And so did you want to tell us a little bit more about media buying? I know that you are an expert in Facebook ads and being able to, and explain what media buying is. Can you tell us a little bit more about that for people that might not even know what media buying is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think media buying in its most simplest form is basically paying to drive traffic to, whether in a website, an app, a software, whatever it is that you're offering, is just buying viewership to whatever it is that you're selling. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
So how does somebody get good at media buying?
So the thing with media buying that's very interesting is that really the way to get very, very good at it is you just have to spend a lot of money, right? Like a lot of my lessons have come from spending a lot of money. Like just in the past 12 months, we've probably spent over $5 million in Facebook ads. So when you spend
Wow.
that kind of volume of money on just one platform, you learn so much about that platform, what works, what doesn't work, and things of that nature. But the biggest rule of thumb that I tell people when it comes to media buying is I'm not necessarily a great media buyer because there's no such thing as a great media buyer. I just click a button, I enter a budget, and I upload an ad, and I click publish. Anyone can do that,
Hmm.
right? What I'm really good at, though, is getting the right people to see the right thing at the right time. If you do that, it doesn't matter what platform you use. I could put a billboard outside my house. I could put $1 million into Facebook, whatever it is. Media buying is easy. It's coming up with the right product, the right advertisement, and the right person all at the right time together. That's the challenging part. And I think that's where people should really focus their time and attention on, because when it comes to media buying, it's actually not that complex if you have the right systems in place.
How do you create those systems? How do you get the right people to see the right things at the right time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it comes down to really testing a lot of different angles. So a lot of people like to go very, very broad when it comes to like marketing and advertising. And, I'll often ask like a business owner, hey, who's your ideal customer? And they'll go, oh, everyone above 20 years old. And I'm like, no, you've already lost the game because not everyone over 20 years old is the right buyer. Like to give you guys an example, right now, Q4 is coming around the corner, right? And
Mhm.
so the biggest market of the entire year is Christmas shopping. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of people right now that are looking for gifts and are going to be scrambling to get someone a gift. Now, this is just one example of one angle that you could test. If you can find a way to curate your product as the perfect gift of this holiday season, so now you've got the perfect
Mm.
advertisement, the perfect creative that goes with it, the perfect ad copy, and now you're showing it to people that love to get gifts for other people and love that holiday spirit. That's an
Yeah.
example of the right person, the right time with the right messaging. And so
Oh,
that's
that's
like one example. Exactly. And you can, mix and test so many different angles. And literally for us, it's just massive amounts of testing. And that's what we learn from. Yeah.
I love that. How do you create the perfect ad copy? I love copywriting. So this is interesting to me. How do you create the perfect ad copy? So let's pretend you're a coach or you're an entrepreneur and you want to do Facebook or Instagram ads to sell your services. How would you create copy around that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first thing is you need a hook, right? Because when you run an advertisement, people at most will read the first sentence. And if that first sentence doesn't pique their interest, they will move on to the next thing because social media has the shortest time span of anything else in the world. Like people will pay more attention to a TV or something else than social media because social media, I scroll once, you're gone. I never have to see your post ever again, right? Literally with a scroll. So the first sentence, so the way I'd set up my copywriting essentially is a hook, a killer hook. And I'll test all of these different layers that I'm talking about on multiple different sequences so I can figure out what's the best combination over time. So the first thing is a hook. You have to capture the person's attention in a unique
Yeah.
way that nobody else is, right? So for example, like I'll give you a really good example of an ad that I saw today. So everyone out there,
Yeah.
courses, I saw this guru out there whose first line was, "Do not buy my course." I was so compelled at that point, like he hooked me. I had to read the rest of that copy because he was doing something so different from everyone else, where everyone else is saying, "Please come buy my copy or my course or check
Yeah.
my business, da 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 da." He did that for his first line. I was hooked,
What
right?
did the ad copy say? Why shouldn't you buy the course? It's obviously something that's like, do not buy my course if you're not ready to take action. But what was it?
So it's actually interesting because that's what you would think it was. He actually was like, "Do not buy my course until you take one of my free courses." And so it was an entire ad copy where he's like, "I never
Ah.
asked for money if I asked you to pay for something without getting to know me first. So here's my course, right, for free. And if you like this course, we'll talk later." And he literally just gives it out for free. And so I was like, man, that's great. And that's like something that, it's a value bomb because I've never seen anyone else doing this. And I'm about to implement this in my own course.
Stop it. I want to do it too.
Yeah, everybody can
Who
jump
was
on.
it? Can you put in the chat box and tell me low key who it was?
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you after the call because I forget his name, but I have it saved. So I'll definitely pull it up.
I love that. That's such a good idea. So how else do you create compelling ad copy? I love that example because it was a really good example to get the wheels turning for my audience. What else do you think?
Yeah, so just from a hook standpoint, I think that's a really good idea. A lot of people, when it comes to e-commerce, for example, they're just constantly trying to their hook will be 75% off, buy now, or free shipping today only. And it's like every consumer has seen that already, right? Like, why are you trying to do that? And like one of the examples that I like to look at a lot is this company called Purple Mattress. And if you've ever seen their advertisement, I think they went from like 0 to 100 million in year one, something like ridiculous.
Wow.
And if you look at their advertisements, it was always like you would have like Sasquatch like dancing around outside, or you'd have like pets, mingling with each other, and they sell mattresses. It had nothing to do with their product.
Pets mingling with each other.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I always look at it as like, if you know who your audience is, what is something that you can put in front of them that's just going to, capture their attention? And it's like, if I'm targeting a new mom, for example, I could just start with something about babies and have an ad creative, like the first 3 seconds, that just shows a super adorable baby, like maybe making a mess. Because every mom can relate to that. And I haven't even sold anything yet. Within my first sentence and my image or video, I haven't sold anything. I've just put a cute baby in front of them and I've drawn their attention. So the first 3 seconds of anything you do, whether it's your ad copy, copywriting, your creative, is the most crucial, because that's how quickly you will lose someone. 3 seconds.
Oh, I so agree with you. You're literally taking the words right out of my mouth. And I love how you broke it down into 3 crucial steps and 3 important things to add into your ad copy. Number 1 is the hook. You have the first 3 seconds to get them interested in what else you have to say. And the reason why that's so important is because we live in a society where everybody is so ADD. And so we are all over the place. We have so many different things that are vying for our attention. And so we have very little time to be able to be like, this is why I deserve your attention. Because you know what? Attention is currency. Attention is currency. And when you can grab somebody's attention, they're essentially paying you money. They're giving you value, which is their attention. So treat it with respect. So make sure that you add some value when you're grabbing their attention. And number 2, you said was to do something unique. So something that's like a cute baby or something that is able to stand out. And then number 3 is really mastering that video and photo to be able to do that. So I love that you broke it down there. What else would you say are crucial components to creating effective ad copy?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of like the structure that my team and I follow is we start with that killer hook. So that's like one thing we'll test. Then from the hook, we go to the solution. So if I tell you, hey, Brittany, I'm going to give you a mansion for free tomorrow, your attention's there, right? Like you're like, okay, how do I get this? And now in the solution, I have to deliver on that hook. So if you read that solution and it's like, yeah, you're going to have to deposit $1 million, you're like, no, I'm not doing that. You're out of there, right? But if somehow I write compelling enough ad copy to convince you in the solution that what I'm saying in the hook is accurate, then you're going to continue to the next step. And the next step is what I like to call the offer, right? It's like, how can you create an offer that makes the person take action right now? Because if I tell you, okay, here's the hook, here's the solution, but there's no time limit, no scarcity, nothing to make you act now, you'll be like, cool, that was a cool story. I'll keep that in the back of my mind and I'll, act on it when I feel necessary. But with marketing, you need people to act now. If it's just as simple as getting an email address, get it now. Find a way to get that email now. It's not even like I want to clarify this. I don't necessarily go for the sale or ask for money the first time I show someone an ad. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for one action from them. And it's my desired action, not what they want to do, what I want them to do. So if it's like, I want you to watch this video, then that's my action. Or if it's, I want you to give me this email, that's what I want, right? So you're always asking for one thing. You can test, what that one thing is to see what resonates best with your audience. But that's how I really break it down. And then the final step is call to action, right? And that one's pretty basic, is, where do you want them to go? So that's how we really structure all of our stuff. And I've got an internal team of copywriters and stuff too. And that's how I break it down to them, to teach them how to create something that's going to work. And that's been the formula that's worked best for us.
I love that. Would you mind if I shared, it's similar to yours, but it's called the 10-step formula to creating the perfect VSL?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think this is really valuable for the audience. Number one, like you said, the title, something with like alliteration, steps, formulas, 10 ways to, 3 musts to creating more financial freedom in your life, something like that. And possibly like a call out, like, hey, insert like location, income, or pain points. Number 2 is authority, why you're the expert. So any respect, awards, numbers, articles, amount of money you've made, anything that's going to have proven results. And this, you guys, you can put in any video sales letter, which is the video that people are going to buy from. You can do it in your ad copy. You can do it to get them in like a post if you want to do a video. It can be anything. So you can use these formulas for a multitude of different ways to be able to increase your net profit and bottom line. Number 3 is talk about their pain points, show you understand them, really understand what gives them goosebumps, what keeps them up at night. Number 4 is the offer. So for example, this was a presentation I did, so I just put my own offer in there. I do one-on-one coaching, or I have my mastermind that's $199. Then I talk about the offer, bi-weekly or weekly calls and coaching. And blah. Then you have the solution. So why should they trust you? So an example is like your marketing strategy, or you can help them get their desired outcome. Number 6 is the benefits. Number 7 is social proof, testimonials, especially from influencers or credible people, equals relatability and trust, which is priceless. Number 8 is bonuses. That's literally one of the ways that I close for my mastermind, is I'll offer 1 million bonuses. Number 9, I love that you mentioned urgency, scarcity, having a promo. I always offer a discount if they sign up within 24 hours. And the reason why this is so important is because if you go to the mall, how many of you guys, I actually want you to answer this question in your head or out loud. How many of you guys went to the mall and then were like, oh, I'll come back for this, and then never came back for that pair of pants or that shoes? If people aren't going to sign up for your product or service right away, 95% of people do not come back. So if you can't capture that market, you're missing out on a massive, massive amount of people. And then the last one is your call to action. How are you going to get people to sign up? Are you going to have 1 million different offers and confuse them? Or are you going to make it really simple to get them to sign up? And the thing that I love that you touched on is this is the formula for success. Me and you both know it. It's what we've used. It's what works. And it's if the listeners, if they choose to adopt this formula of success as well, then they can achieve a massive amount of success in their business too. But the thing that I like that you touched on is you said it takes practice. It takes effort. It takes testing different concepts, because I believe one of the reasons why people fail in business and aren't successful is because they kind of have the formula, or they don't have the formula at all, but they'll only try it once. They don't test it. They don't perfect it. How often do you really focus on that growth in your business? And how do you see the most growth within your products and services to be able to reach 8 figures in your business, which you've been able to do?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely love everything that you said. So in terms of really being able to reach that growth, what we do is, I like to call it, like, we have a sandbox, right? So we call this like a sandbox, where we're constantly just testing everything that we possibly can. I've got like dedicated employees that their job is only to test, right? That's all they do day and night. Like, we're like mad scientists in a lab, just, testing anything and everything possible.
I love that.
When we figure out, okay, one thing works, especially with media buying, the thing with media buying, and like you kind of touched on this earlier, that was brilliant, is, attention is a currency, right? And even if you have the greatest attention getting creative or ad or whatever it is, it will eventually lose attention, because enough people will get sick of it. It's like when you see that TV commercial that you loved the first time, but it's played so many times now that you're like, not this again. Like, and you want to just turn it off. That's what happens with media buying. Just it happens 100 times faster because on social media, there's so many things going on that people are quickly losing attention of something that once caught their attention. And not only that, but things are innovating really at a massive pace, right? Because it's not, like on TV, who are you really competing with? Like the top 1,000 companies in the world. On social media, you're competing with 1.5 billion people in the world. Someone in, Australia could come up with the most compelling, video or something, not even run ads to it, but that could be the new standard now, right? Yeah. And they didn't need $1 million in their bank account to run a TV ad like State Farm or someone does. So the biggest way that we've really been able to grow so fast, because, like some of my e-commerce brands, like one of my e-commerce brands is, hitting 8 figures. We've only been in business 12 months. Right. And so a lot of people.
Is that your course, your digital courses?
No. So it's like an e-commerce brand. So that's like actually like a drop shipping with e-commerce brand.
Oh, do you have different winning products, like different products, or is it the same?
No. So it's under one. So it's a watch brand. So it's all under one niche. I wouldn't even say like we bounce from winning product to winning product. We've just created something really unique in the market that people haven't seen yet. And so it's just like different styles and different colors, but it's essentially at the core of the same product.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, I could share that website with you afterwards. I don't really reveal any of my brands publicly just because I get way too many imitators and copycats and stuff like that. So
no, that totally makes sense. That sounds super cool though. I'm excited to see it. And so I know that you also sell courses, and I know a lot of my audience wants to build their own course. How have you been able to create such an enormous, you have like 1,500 students or something in your courses. How have you been able to create such an enormous amount of success in that avenue?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing that we nailed down that's allowed us to have that success with our course is the way that we've approached our marketing is we've done a little bit of asking for a very little bit every time. So we actually don't even ask for a sale till the 5th time someone has seen our advertisement. So if you've never seen our brand ever before, the first thing I say is like, hey, this is me. Here's a cool story about me. How about you watch a 2-minute video from me? Okay, so they watch that 2-minute video. So if they've committed to the first layer, I'm like, okay, this person watched a 2-minute video. I will retarget them. And now I'll tell them, hey, here's an hour-long video where it's a webinar where I'll teach you something cool that you don't know about, okay? And so then I see what percentage of them commit to that. Then a percentage of them commit to that, and I can see exactly how much of the webinar they watched, how deep they went into it. Then after they watch that webinar, I kind of like talking off those 10 things that you mentioned, we kind of do that, but we just break them up into small chunks and pieces so we don't overwhelm them. So then the third layer will be like, hey, let me just tell you why you should listen to me, why my voice matters, right? I've been on TEDx, here's some interviews, here's, Grant Cardone giving me a testimonial, here's Damon John giving me a testimonial. Just kind of show them a couple things of like authority.
Cool.
And they go, oh, that's awesome. This is pretty cool. Then the fourth thing I go is, hey, if you've loved the value I've given so far, how about you give me your email and phone number so I can send you, daily text messages, daily emails, just sharing only valuable and inspiring stuff, nothing else. They go, okay, cool. If they've gone through that entire 4-step process and they've done all 4 things, then I show them an advertisement telling them, hey, here's something I have. It's a paid offer. It's $9.97. If you're interested, go sign up. And that's how we really layer and tier it out. And it's like we're building a relationship because at the end of the day, I don't know this person. They don't know me. For me to ask them for $1,000 is the equivalent of me going out on the street and asking someone, hey, can I borrow $1,000? And be like, no.
Wow.
Right? So I'm building this relationship. You can ask your friend if you need $1,000, you need to borrow $1,000, but you can't just ask a random person on the street. And so that's the way we approach marketing is we're putting a personal touch on it. And that's what's worked really well. And after they hit that 5th time is when we really blast them from every angle. Because now we've got their phone number, we've got their email. I've got, sales closers in the back end that are calling, nurturing relationships. And we don't even call them like salespeople. They're like personal concierges, right? So they're be of service to that individual. How can they add value to that individual? And if we feel that if we add enough value on the front end, they will give us money in the back end and we will be able to monetize them. So that's kind of how we structure everything out.
Wow. I want the audience to go back and rewind the last 5 minutes of this episode, because you just hit the nail on the head. You just hit the nail on the head so concretely. And I love that, because it's so true. Like, so many coaches are like, I want to sell my course online. And they're like, okay, they're eager. And they're like, why isn't anyone buying my stuff? They don't have a big list, and they're like, nobody's buying it from my current list, but I'm trying to reach out to new people and they're not buying. You just hit the nail on the head. Why? And it's because they don't know, like, and trust you yet. And so your job isn't to shove your sales page down their throat and be like, buy my stuff. Your job is to give them value for free. And how I do this is I invite them into my mastermind. Their first call is free. I'm doing a free webinar. I literally, before we jumped on this call, I created a webinar on how to launch, guys, BTW. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. If you guys can sign up ASAP, I'm doing a free webinar on how to launch your own podcast in 55 minutes or less and get it rated on Apple's in the top charts. And so it's a free webinar. I'm doing it live. I'm teaching one-on-one, and it's not going to be a recording where I'm going to pretend it's live. It's actually live. I'm going to be answering questions, and it's going to be free value. And then at the end, I'm going to be like, guys, if you want to join my mastermind, this is one of the things that we cover. This is 1 week. We covered this, and it was such a popular hit. I opened it to the public, blah, 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 and then invite them into it, because you're right. And I loved the analogy used. It's like, as coaches, people want to go out into you can't go out into the street and ask for $1,000. People aren't going to do it. And so you need webinars, you need PDFs, you need videos, you need little things that are free. So what do you give to people to build that know, like, trust factor?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually doing a lot of things that we've, like, so like I said, I test a lot of things. So the amount of, like, free content that I've probably given away testing is just absolutely nuts. Like, that's probably like $1,000 course on its own. But so we've tested the whole free webinar angle. We do a lot of PDFs, we do books, we do guides. One of the things that we're doing right now is I'm making a mini course. So, it's going to be a complete mini course that I give away for free as well. Kind of like an intro to the big thing, the big sell after. So we're literally giving away a lot of those things. We've tested, like, one-on-one phone calls, like 15-minute consultation with me on the phone. We've tested, I'm just trying to think. Those are probably all the things that we've kind of given away. And I mean, another value bomb that I can really add, that a lot of people that are, like, in a similar space as me and you, where we're kind of like content creators, we're teaching people how to, be successful, is nobody wants to be vulnerable, right? No one wants to be a human. Like, I'm not Superman and you're not Superwoman, right? But, like, we have a lot of people.
Wait, back up. What? I thought I was Superwoman. What is going on here? I'm just kidding. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like, everyone wants to be like the superhero on social media, and it's like people are kind of they put up a wall when they see that, right? When you try to be good at everything, you try to be perfect at everything, people put up a wall. And one of the most successful email campaigns we've had is where it's just me being vulnerable, whether it's me sharing, like, an embarrassing story, how the first time I went into a business meeting, they thought I was the kid of the guy that, like, a kid of someone working there to kick me out. Or if it's just, like, me sharing, like, my pain point, like, the time that I almost gave up. And it's just, like, a super vulnerable, super personal story. Or if it's telling people, like, hey, like, I know you think my life is great, but, there are days where I'm on a big low. I don't know if I can make it as an entrepreneur. And this is after 9 years of doing it. And this is, like, real stuff too. You know what I mean? It's not, I never ever tell people to fake it, but it's like, if you can humanize yourself and you can make yourself vulnerable to your audience, and you can, let go of the idea of, I need to be a superhero 24/7. And you can just be like, you know what? I'm going to be Jeet, or I'm going to be Brittany, whatever it is. And you give them every angle of your life. That's what's great. And I always say this, like, people love reality TV, not because these reality TV stars are fun to watch. It's because they're vulnerable. They're giving away emotion. The best episodes of the Kardashians are the ones where you see Kim crying, and it's like, coming up next time on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, this devastating thing happened to Kim and she's crying and everyone wants to watch it. Like, I'll be honest, like I've even been guilty, like, why is she crying? Like, I want to know, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, me too.
So that's like the biggest value add that I can add for people.
Oh, that is so perfect. And the reason why I love that is because people don't buy from people that are perfect. People buy from people like themselves, and nobody is perfect in this world. And the other thing is the let's hang out factor. Eating pizza with robots. Like nobody wants to. People want to buy from people they want to be friends with. People want to buy from real people. You guys, this is so important. You have to show this human side of you, because people will feel like they can connect with you. They'll feel like they can, that you understand them, because again, nobody's perfect. And when you try and portray that you're perfect online, people are like, oh, she or he doesn't understand me. But when you can connect to their struggle, and you can connect to their pain points, and you can connect to overcoming that through these solutions, which is your value add, which is your offer, your sale, that's when you can break through to your customers to be able to close that sale. And in coaching specifically, it's like you're a coach because you've gone through these challenges. I mean, you used to be poor, and then you created financial success, and now you're teaching people how to become successful. You got in shape. You got in really like the best shape of your life. And now you're teaching other people how to do it too. People buy from people that are the results that they want. And so I love that. You just really, really hit the nail on the head. And that vulnerability component is so important. And I love how we both practice what we preach. Like that Superwoman comment, like I don't portray myself as perfect online. I try not to. I even wrote a status today, which you guys got to go check it out on social media, go and add both of us. But it was just about how just pain that I've been through, and just like what it was like being broken and having to overcome that to be able to find strength, because that was the most important thing for me. And so I just love that. That's so important. So what else can people do to create more success in selling an online course or their coaching package online?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think kind of some of the things that we touched on, definitely the testing, really being themselves, humanizing themselves, creating like this personal touch to themselves. And I think the third thing is it really comes down to being very engaging in a way where people don't feel like they're DMing a celebrity when they try to message you, when they try to get in touch with you, whatever it is, where they feel like it's someone that, that, and yeah, I think you kind of touched on this too, is like you can go to dinner with, you can go hang out with, you can go grab a drink with, something along those lines. And if you can create that kind of environment, that's what's special. And like one of the biggest things that I do in my course is we don't just take anybody to be a student. Like if I feel like I bring in a student and he doesn't meet the culture or the environment that I'm trying to create,
Yeah.
I will give him his money back, and I'll be like, sorry, this is not a good fit. Maybe XYZ people can help you, but I'm not the person for it. And
Yeah.
the thing that I can tell people is don't just think about how can I bring in the most customers into my course or program. How can I create such a great environment? And this kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier. It's not just about the pre-purchase experience, but the post-purchase experience, where it's like I've been able to create such a strong community where my students help other students without me ever having to ask them or ever compensate them, because
Wow.
seen how giving and how willing I am to help them out. And so they'll see someone else ask a question and they're like, oh yeah, I totally bothered Jeet about this question 2 months ago. He answered me in 5 minutes. I'm going to jump in so Jeet doesn't have to answer this again. And I'm going to help this student on my own. And I don't tell them to do this. I don't ask them to do this. This just happens naturally because we've created such a community, right? Where it's like, I'm very personable. Like we've got like a group chat with all my students. Like literally I opened it up to all 1,500 students, probably got like 600 or 700 of them actually took action and joined this group chat. And people are constantly motivating, inspiring, talking to each other, all this kind of stuff. And if someone needs to reach me, they can just, at me on the group chat and I'll be there to respond, just like I would respond to, my best friend sending me a text message. So it's like this post-purchase experience is so cool, where it's like, I also tell these students, it's like, I know you paid for this. Some of you paid for this 8 months ago, but that doesn't mean that, you're not going to get any value from me in the future. I create weekly content where I'm like, you know what, for free, create this great post-purchase experience. I'm going to keep sharing things that I learn on a week-to-week basis. So you feel like you're part of the journey with me.
I love
And
that.
a lot of people like look at their entire course or program and it's like, I started on day 1 and I got to day 1,000 and that's all you get. But it's like, what about day 1,000 to day 2,000 or day 2,000 to day 5,000? And what I've been able to do is I plug them in and I tell them like, look, if I'm your mentor, I want to be your mentor for life.
Yeah.
So come join this program. Let's be on the same team forever. Like this isn't just a one-off, type of thing. This is like, I want you to feel the same thing that you feel, the same pride someone feels like when they graduate college and they're like, that's my school, I'm alumni. That's what I want to create in my course. So I really recommend people to think about the post-purchase experience. Like what can you do to create such a great environment that they will give back to you on their own? And now it's like, sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, and now it's like, I feel like if I was to ever offer anything as an upsell or something else down the road, these students are such like beloved, they bought into the entire vision of what we do that it's easy to sell them now. You know what I mean? Like they know what they've gotten once. So now to upsell, and like, that's one thing I'm very good at is upselling, especially in e-commerce. Like I get ridiculous lifetime customer values, like in the thousands of dollars from customers because of this post-purchase experience. Like I can take $50 from a customer by giving them a great pre-purchase experience. But if my post-purchase experience is even better, I could turn that 50 into 1,000 without ever having to buy that customer with media buy ever again. Like they're in my funnel. Wow. I keep them for life. So that's the way I kind of think about things.
Wow. Like, I hope that people rewind this and listen to it twice because that is so powerful. And it's like everything you said, I feel like this has probably been one of the most, not congruent, but a lot of synergies in the way that we both think. Because literally you've taken the words right out of my mouth for almost every single topic that we've talked about. And I say this, if you can add more value in exchange for what they're paying, you will be able to create a successful business. And if you can over deliver on what you're offering, that's how you build a cult-like following. Like if you look at our mastermind members, I just got a call. I'm so excited to have you on my mastermind coach call as well. And guys, if you guys want any one-on-one coaching from either of us, please message me about any of our services as well. And but the thing that I'm super pumped about to have you on for is I just had somebody else on and he just sent me a message this morning and he's like, wow, he got so many messages from the mastermind members afterwards being like, thank you for all the value that you dropped, and just the community that we're building in the mastermind is just absolutely mind blowing. And the reason why is everything that you just talked about. We provide so much value. We build communities, we build tribes, we engage back and forth. And when I say we, I mean me. But like I engage with people and you're building that up. And I love that you talk about that mindset, because that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people have fear in this coaching space for becoming a coach, is because there's so many scam artists in this space. And I love that you say that, because what you just said really shows how clean and clear your intentions are. And that's why you've been successful, and that's why you'll be successful in future. But the point to hit home on is having those good intentions, because there's so many scam artists in this industry. And so I don't know about you, but I'll offer like a money back guarantee. I'll provide more value. I'll do all these bonuses that I didn't even pitch them, that when they sign up for, they're like, oh, I didn't even know I was getting this. But that's literally how you build a call like following. And I know you got to run. I have like a billion more questions round two, but I wanted to ask a couple quick ones. How do you feel like you build a cult like following? Like you've been able to build people that would go to bat for you. How have you been able to build that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, if you hit on the right audience, and especially in like the space field of coaching, consulting, things like that, if you build the right audience, typically what ends up happening is the people that want to learn from you are the people that believe in the same things that you do. They have like the same morals and ethics standards and their own code of life. And you just got to lead by example, because now if you lead by example and they see that like, hey, in the outside of my program, it never says that like, oh, like you can hit me up anytime, any hour and get an answer from me, right? But students know they can do that. And when they see that I respond, they're like, wow. So he told me he was going to give me X. He over delivered to Y. So now I want to be like Jeet and I want to get to the same heights he's done. I've got to lead. I've got to do the same type of thing. So they employ those same things. And like, one of the things I love to say is like, one of the biggest issues I've had with like the course and guru industry is like, so many people out there teach other people to build shitty businesses that it never ends up helping the ecosystem. And for me, it's always been like, I want my entrepreneurs that I help to build really fucking awesome businesses.
Yeah.
That are really going to change the world and make an impact. And even though I get no, currency out of it, or I don't get any monetary compensation out of it, I get the compensation of purpose and fulfillment that like I helped plant a seed that will now grow and help plant 500 other seeds. And so that's the way I've really looked at it. It's just leading by example, like I want my students to see what I do. And another big thing I always tell my students is like, look, like I don't need to work every day. I work every day and I do this thing because I absolutely love it. Like I take one day off all year long and that's it. Other than that,
I know it's not work for us. I feel you. Like we work till like 2 a.m. every single night, sometimes 7 days a week. I'm trying to take weekends off. I still work on weekends, but I'm trying to at least take weekends off. But it's like, this isn't work for us because our heart is in the right places and because this is what we were called to do. And I love that you talk about that because I think that's so important for anyone in this business. I mean, I think it kind of goes to say, because I mean, if you're in the coaching space, hopefully it's not to rip people off and make money, but it's like with those intentions, people will tell. People can hear even from this interview how much integrity you have, and it's real, and that's the only way that you'll be successful in business long term. You can be, this is what I think you can be successful in business in a short term doing the wrong things, but if you really want to build a legacy for yourself, you have to have good intentions. Every single decision, every single time that you're faced with a business decision, it has to be looked at with a very, very high level of integrity. So I love that. And I love that you're just super dedicated and committed to your purpose. So I know we got to wrap soon because I know you got to go, but on that note, I did want to, okay, maybe can I just ask you a really, really quick question?
Yeah, shoot, you're good. Yeah, go.
How do you retarget people and what platform do you use?
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically more pertaining to like coaching, consulting, and like digital.
Yeah, because you talked about how you did the different videos, and then if they saw that, then you retargeted them. How do you do that exactly? I think that's so important. It's a crucial component for success, and I'm wondering if you kind of walk through step by step how to implement that for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I use really two platforms for that I found success, and I've tested a bunch of different platforms, and that's, like the Facebook, Instagram, that's like one platform I call it as a combo, and YouTube. Those are really the two platforms that we're using for retargeting. And the way that we do our retargeting structure is so easy, is like, if on step one, they've watched the first video that's like 2 minutes about me, then I just retarget everyone that watched that first video to step two. And if they did that action on step two, I take them to step three and so forth. So that's how we do our retargeting. Cause it's like, if someone didn't show any interest in step one, there's no point of targeting them in step two.
Yeah.
I put them in a different bucket and I'm like, okay, this angle doesn't work for them. I got to think of something brand new to capture their attention. And then if I get someone that goes step one, step two, step three, but at step four, they fall off, I don't necessarily give up on them. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll create a variation of step four and show them another alternative to step four. Maybe it's like, maybe let's say like my step four is like, oh, give me your email and your phone number. Maybe that's a little too intrusive. And so maybe at step four, I say, okay. And what we do is we really play on their action. So if they didn't give us their email and phone number, we'll do something like, hey, we know it's creepy when a stranger asks for a phone number and email too. We're sorry if we crossed the line with you. Can we, do X, Y, and Z, or can we, how can we win back your trust and love again? Maybe, if we give you the free ebook, you'll think differently about us. And then we'll
I like that.
You know what I mean? So it's like, we're really real with them, like we know why they didn't do what they did. So if you hit home on that and you tell them like, hey, we get it. Like, we're the same way. Like, we wouldn't want to just give anyone our phone number too. And you give them something else to divert them to a different way. that's how we really build out all of our retargeting sequences. And that's what we do for e-commerce too. You know, like we are so targeted where it's like, hey, you added this product to cart, but you didn't check out. Maybe, you know, you didn't think you're going to get your order. So let me show you like, you know, 5 testimonials and a minute long video of all of our customers unboxing their product. So it's like really understanding the objection at every step and overcoming that objection without them having to email you about it or message you about it or ask about it. That's the most powerful retargeting funnel.
I think I figured out why you're so successful in business. One of the biggest components.
All right, let's hear it.
You understand psychology on such a deep level. Most people don't see humanity at the depth that you see it. You understand their pain points, understand their actions, and the thing that you do with good intentions is you know their next move before they even know it. And so with that skill, the reason why I share this is because I hope that the listeners really see how crucial it is to master marketing psychology. And whatnot. I feel like I love like social media psychology, and you love like buying psychology. And I mean, obviously we both like both of them, but you really understand it on a very, very deep level, which is so important. Again, you're one step ahead of them with good intentions, so you can figure out how to get, because all we really want at the end of the day is for people to buy our products and services so that we can impact the world in a big way, so that we can genuinely help them, because we know what we're selling can do that. And so that's why like it's important to work with good people with good intentions, because what we talked about today in the wrong hands can do a lot of destruction. And so hopefully the people listening to this, and I know they are because my audience is absolutely amazing. They're the coolest people in the world, but it's like this stuff will actually help you close more clients. And while I do the podcast, I always think of like the title, and I think a perfect title for this is how to close more clients, how to get more clients. I'm going to jump off and kind of try and think of something, because like you talked about, the hook in even your ads. I mean, that's what the title of the podcast is you have to make sure that it draws people attention, or else they're not going to listen to it. So I totally love that. So is there anything else that you wanted to add to how people can create successful retargeting campaigns? And also, what platform do you use? Do you just do it just directly on Instagram or Facebook and YouTube, or do you use like ClickFunnels, or what do you use exactly?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I answer that question, just even add on your point, psychology, like you like read me really well right there, because like for the last year, I've been studying nothing but psychology, especially more on like consumer level now, because I'm trying to, you know, really tap in and, you know, try to build like a name or household name brand in e-commerce. But yeah, you know that absolutely. And so in terms of the retargeting funnel, so it really depends. So like ClickFunnels, for example, we use that for a lot of like easy retargeting things. So if it's like, hey, you know, step 1 was great, step 2 will give you a free ebook. I love using ClickFunnels for that. It takes me, you know, 30 minutes to make a page on ClickFunnels, upload a book, it looks good, and I can just tie it with my Facebook pixel and drive traffic to it. So we do use a lot of ClickFunnels. For the course in the academy, we use like our own, like we custom built our own software for that to really give like a very good experience, because back when I first started, there wasn't really many platforms that existed, but now there's a ton of platforms. The retargeting thing, another big thing that I would add is there's so much value in digging so deep into your data that people really forget. Like people just do it the most simple and lazy way, and that doesn't work for retargeting. So a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm just going to create a new campaign of all the people that visited my website in the last 30 days, but did not buy, and they'll just show them an ad. But every one of those individuals that visited that website falls in a different bucket. If someone came to that website and they left within the first 5 seconds, that means they have absolutely zero interest in what I'm offering. I try to understand why people leave in which time period. What is the reason for leaving? So first 5 seconds, they don't care. That's as simple as it is. Usually for like e-commerce, for example, if someone leaves between the first 5 to 30 seconds, the price. So now if I target somebody that left the website within 5 to 30 seconds with a retargeting ad of, hey, today only, I'll give you 25% off. My conversion is through the roof, right? But now if I show
Wow.
it to someone that spent 5 minutes on my website, price wasn't an issue, and I just lost 25% off the sale because I could have
Yeah.
made 25% more. Maybe for that person that spent 5 minutes on the website, their objection could be something completely, different, right? It could be like, can I really trust this website? Maybe they're like at that edge and they need like a push of authority. So, you
Yeah.
show testimonials or you show some, industry leaders talking about you or your brand or whatever it is, and that pushes them over the top. Or maybe you show them like student testimonials, or you show them like, hey, I'll do a phone call with you to answer any questions. So with retargeting, what we really do is we break down so deep into the layers to
Yeah.
make sure that the offering and the messaging they see is so, like, what's the word for it? I guess so relevant. It's about
Accurate.
relevancy. Yeah, relevancy and accuracy. It's relevant to them and what stage they're in. Because if I
Yeah.
show someone that's having trust issues at 25% off, that's not going to fix the problem. That is not going to
They
solve
need to see testimonials and social
that.
proof and
Absolutely. So there's typically with any business, there's always the same types of objections, right? Can I trust
money, time, and
money?
trust. Yeah.
Exactly. All of these things, always the same objections. And it's just a matter of how can you use your resources to counter those objections the best way possible.
Oh, that's so powerful. How can you use your resources to counter their objections? Because you're right, most people don't buy because of objections. And if you can counter, this is like, I wish we had like soundtracks of like dropping bombs. But if you can counter their objections with your resources, you can convert them into a sale, and that's so powerful. And that's how you create an 8-figure business. And I figured out the title of the podcast. You want to know what it is?
Oh, yeah, hit me with it.
How to build an 8-figure business by mastering consumer psychology.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Yeah,
I was like,
I
I had it longer and then I was like shortening it. And I was just like, oh, so perfect. But no, I love it. I love it so much. So thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited to bring you into our mastermind, because this is everything. Like people come to us because they want success in their life, and you literally just spilled the beans on how to do it. I mean, it boils down to consumer psychology. It boils down to adding value. It boils down to being in integrity. It boils down to your ads and how you're marketing to them, how you're getting them to buy into what you have to sell. And I really, really appreciate you opening up about this, because you and I both know this is the secret sauce, but unfortunately most people aren't willing to talk about it. Most people, unfortunately, aren't willing to give away their secret sauce, and you've just laid it all out on the table for the listeners. So I hope that they go and watch this twice, and I know that they'll get as much value as I did, which I got so much value from this interview. So thank you so much. And how can people get in touch with you? How can people buy your courses? I want to learn more. How do I buy all your courses? And send me the website, please, right away in the chat box, so that I can put the link in the interview. So if you guys are interested in buying his courses or getting more involved with him, how can people do that? What can people do to learn more and be able to create more success in their business from learning from your mistakes and your success?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to really reach me, the platform that I'm the most active on is Instagram. So they can reach me at the Jeet Banerjee or at the Income Incubator. That's the handle for the course, and I'll send you all that on the chat after. And then if someone's interested in buying the course and they just want to directly check it out, the website for that one is theincomeincubator.com. And yeah, that's where people can learn more about that, the courses, the business. And if anyone wants to get in touch with me, engage with me, any of that stuff, I always love, talking to everybody. So just DM me, hit me up on Instagram. Yep.
Cool. I love that. Well, guys, take a screenshot, throw it on your story. We're going to repost it. Thank you so much for your time. Honored to have you here, and I'm excited to keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise. Thank you so much. It was an honor to be on here as well.